Hello and welcome to a new colouring video. Today I'm going to be colouring a picture from this absolutely beautiful book called Magic Hour by Karolina Kubicowska, and the page I'm doing is this one. I've already started colouring these leaves here. Now, if you watched any of my vlogs last summer over on my other channel, you probably recognise this because I did actually started it last year, but I'm only just finishing it now. So I started it off with polychromos pencils, and I did the first few leaves with the polychromos. Then I bought these Derwent Chromaflow pencils, so I switched and decided to continue the picture with these. And I did have a couple of requests to show how I'd coloured the leaves because it was quite an unusual way to colour them, and I'd never used this particular style before. So I'm going to go through and explain how to colour these leaves, and I'm going to show all the colours that I used for the picture, and I'm also going to list all the colours below. So if you do want to do this picture and you want to follow along, all the colours are listed in the description below. And then I finished the picture off with the Copic Acrea markers, which are opaque acrylic markers. So for the leaves, the three colours that I'm using are light blue, Obsidian Green and SunYellow. So basically it's like a mid blue colour. If you're not using these pencils and you want to copy what I'm doing, it's a mid blue colour. It's like a super dark green, like the darkest green you've got, and a really warm yellow, and the points need to be like sharp for this. So the first thing I'm doing is doing a little line like this. So I'm creating a vein in the middle of the leaf. So I've got that perfect white line, and then just with little strokes I'm just blending that out, little sharp strokes. And then exactly the same on the edge, so just like little dashes like this, and then some of them longer. Try and go with the shape of the leaf, and then make it quite dark towards the point of the leaf. So much better if the pencil's super sharp. And then go all the way around the edge. And then using the mid blue, but slightly more on the inside, but I'm not colouring the whole thing. I'm leaving some little white bits. And then with the yellow, I'm kind of going over the blue, obviously making a green with that, but then there's some yellow bits as well where I left white patches, but I don't want to cover all them. I need to leave some tiny little white patches, and then go over the little vein in the middle with the yellow as well. And then I'm going to get the green again, the dark green, and just darken some parts even more. Then on to the same colours that I used for the leaves, I'm now using for the grass as well. So I did a shaded area across the bottom with the darker green, and then I'm doing like lots of little blades of grass. Then I'm adding the blue, and then finally the yellow. I'm just building it up in layers. I mean, it's not really exactly a masterpiece, but it's just kind of a rough impression of some grass. It's a little bit out of focus, that's sorry. I didn't realise when I was recording that it wasn't in focus, but it's just for that little clip. Now onto the mushroom heads or caps. I'm doing them multicoloured, and these ones I'm doing red, and I'm using 3 colours. Sangria, which is a really dark red that I'm using for the most shaded parts. Then pure red, which is a really bright red for the kind of mid-tone. And then deep vermilion, which is fairly orange-like, just on the lighter parts. So I'm just layering back and forward, making it a little bit uneven in different parts, just to give it the impression that it's bumpy. Okay, now on to a different coloured mushroom. So this is like a yellow-brown combination, and I'm using 3 colours, which are Shiraz, which is super dark brown, Spice, which is like a tan brown, and then SunYellow, which is nice and bright. And I'm making these ones more dark towards the top. I normally always do mushrooms light at the top, but I think I was just experimenting here by doing the tops, the very top of the mushrooms darker. Yeah, so basically the darkest right at the top, the yellow at the bottom, but I'm leaving some little highlighted parts in that yellow colour, and then using the spice to blend the 2 colours together. I'm also doing different colours on the stalks, so for each colour type it'll have its own coloured stalk as well. So for this yellow brown one, the colours for the stalk, usually 2 or 3 colours, so Shiraz and Parmezan. I'm starting with the darkest shade, and I'm kind of copying what the artist did, and then going into the lighter areas with the Parmezan and kind of blending it in. So I will list all the different colours underneath in the description for the different stalks as well. Then onto the purpley mushrooms. I decided to do one of the colours like a purple. Unfortunately, I don't have the colours wrote down on my piece of paper. I was writing the colours down, and for some reason I haven't wrote these colours down. But basically, I'm sure you get the gist. It's just 3 different tones of purple. So there was a mid purple, a really dark purple, and then a really, really light lilac-y one for the highlights. Next I made a kind of orange tone mushroom, and those are the colours that I used for this one. So these ones that are kind of like a concave cap, I'm using the darker shaded colours towards the middle bit, and then the kind of lip on the edge at the top, that's going to be the lighter highlighted part. And I'm just really following the shading that the artist has put down just to help me. It's kind of like a good guide of where to put the shading. This is the final coloured cap, and it's like a brown orange. Now I didn't write down these colours either, but it's just a brown orange combination, and I will work out what the colours were and I'll put them in the video description below. But it looks like it's probably the coffee bean, which is a really dark brown, and possibly the Clementine, which is kind of an orangey colour. Okay, so all that was recorded last year, and this is me starting again just to get the picture finished. So those pencils were literally in that mug since last summer, sitting on my shelf. I kept them separate because I didn't want to forget which colours that I was using. So I'm just literally finishing off all the leaves. I would say I'm doing exactly the same as what I did with the top leaves, but I didn't. And they didn't look quite the same. I just kind of rushed through them and they didn't look as nice. I wish that I'd actually looked at the footage that I'd recorded in the beginning to see exactly how I coloured them, but I didn't, and they didn't turn out the same. But it doesn't really matter. I did actually end up liking the picture in the end. I added some final bits of shading to the mushroom stalks using a really dark brown, and then I wasn't really that satisfied with the picture, so I got these Copic Acrea pens out, which are beautiful opaque colours, and I added some little dots to all the mushrooms, and then I decided all the little dots on the outside, they're like swirls of tiny little dots on the outside of the picture. I decided I would add loads of rainbow colours to those as well, and I'm glad I did because I thought it looked really nice in the end. And I also added some onto the grass as well, which looked lovely. The artist had put some tiny little circles on the grass, and yeah, it ended up looking really nice. So I'd gone from not really liking what I'd done with the picture and not finishing it off to ended up absolutely loved it when I'd forced myself to finish it. And I just think these coloured dots really make the picture. I think they look so nice. So that's the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please leave me a like because it really helps me on the YouTube algorithm. And thank you very much for watching.